Welcome to Innovation Rebels, the podcast where we shatter conventional thinking and challenge the status quo in pursuit of groundbreaking business ideas and transformative changes for humanity and the Earth. Join us for exclusive insights, inspiring interviews, and behind-the-scenes stories from visionary entrepreneurs to eco-friendly tech industry pioneers who are reshaping entire sectors to impact investors. Our guests are rule breakers, risk takers, and trailblazers who have defied the odds to achieve extraordinary business success on their own terms. Each episode, we dive deep into the minds of the most audacious business leaders who refuse to accept the limitations imposed by tradition and instead embrace disruption as a catalyst for progress. Our podcast is tailor-made for visionary entrepreneurs and forward-thinking individuals who crave unconventional wisdom and seek to revolutionize their industries. If you're tired of the same old strategies and ready to challenge the boundaries of innovation, Innovation Rebels is your platform for inspiration, insight, and empowerment. And now please welcome Swanette Kuntze, your host and guide on this journey into the uncharted territories of future thinking and innovation.
Hello and welcome to my podcast, Innovation Rebels. My name is Swanette and I'm your host. My guest today is Alexander Sobolenko. He is the CEO and co-founder of Releaf Paper. So welcome to my show.
Hello, Swanette.
Yeah, it is super interesting. Releaf Paper. So what I see in the word relief is like there must be leaves from trees somehow in your paper. Let us know a little bit about if this is true.
That's true. That's true. And this name of the company is spelling on its own behalf. And the Releaf Paper means recycle leaf paper, the paper made from the recycled leaves. And the way how we are doing this is a kind of our know-how and our value proposition. And that's the story that makes us whom we are at the moment.
How did you came into this project and what interested you or what made you curious about working with the idea of using leaves to create paper?
Well, my story with Relief starts from the Forbes magazine. So I used to read about the promising school project, kind of school scientific project called Releaf Paper. And I said, wow, that's exciting. That's the project I definitely want to work for. I was about to start my own business again because I'm kind of serial entrepreneur and all the previous businesses were done by myself from scratch. And I was about to start something new again from scratch. But when I read about Relief, which was a very super early stage project, I decided, well, I don't want to run anything else. I want to be in Relief. And I spent 4 or 5 months discussing with the inventor of the technology how we can work together. And at the end, I became the shareholder of the company, and I take over the business administration and business development function from my partner. And since the time we're working together since 2021. But I think you are more interested how not my story with the Relief started, but how the story of Relief Paper itself had been started. Well, that's a really interesting story, and I would say it's a source of inspiration for a lot of young inventors from one side and the young entrepreneurs from another side, because it really sounds like a fairy tale. So everything started in 2018 when the young guy, 15 years old, I assume, was doing his homework for biology. He was environmentally concerned. He was living in the rural area next to the Carpathian Mountains and Carpathian Forest. He was looking for the trees that were falling down in the sake of making paper. And having some background in biology, biotechnology, chemistry, whatever, and being very curious guy, he started to work with his teacher of biology for exploring the properties of different biological materials. Grass, wheat straw, etc. The aim of his work was to try to do something innovative in order to reduce the deforestation. And they did a lot for the grass, then for the wheat straw, but every time they understood it's not longer unique. Someone else in the world already did it previously. Then he decided to try with the fallen leaves because it was obvious that if people are cutting down trees to get the pulp to make a paper, so that means that obviously tree contain the pulp, but leaf as a part of the tree should contain the pulp as well. And the problem was why no one in the world before were doing this. So they decided to try. It took 6 months on the school lab and at the mother's kitchen as well to do some experiments with the leaves which came at that time from forests just as samples. And finally they succeeded. After 6 months in early 2018, when he was 16 years old, he was able to make first solid samples of paper made fully of fallen leaves. That was the beginning of this journey. So he showed this invention at different school Olympiads in the United States, in South Korea, in Tunisia, whatever. And every time it was a great recognition. So people were telling, well, so that's probably the invention that could change in the future the paper industry. So later on, he decided to make the company called Releaf Paper in order to change the industry. A very complicated task for the young guy. He is no longer 16, he is already 23. He is my partner, he is a co-founder of Releaf, and he is a chief technology officer of Releaf Paper. His name is Valentin Frechka.
Wow, what a story. And what a great idea for someone who is only 15 years and feeling really into this mission, to save this planet and to create something like a circle of using the leaves, and as they will fall from the trees every autumn, they will. So how do they harvest these leaves? Is it like really they wait until the leaves come down, or is it like cutting the trees? How do you get these leaves into your production?
When it came to the industrial trials and the big scale, so the business model designed for this process was based on the idea that leaves should come from the cities, because in the big European cities there are plenty of leaves. Green waste. They are called green waste because usually there are not only leaves but something else. And it takes a lot of resources to take these leaves, and then it takes even more resources to dispose these leaves after collecting. So it's a big pressure on the city budget, and there is no truly ecological way for disposing of these leaves. Some cities do composting of the leaves, some cities do incineration. But anyway, in all the cases, it's not really environmentally friendly, because during the incineration, rotting, composting, there is a CO2 emission coming to the atmosphere, and there is no, I would say, upcycling of these materials. So in the best case, you will get compost, but if the city generates 50,000 tons of leaves, for example, they don't need so much compost, and this is a not upcycling product, and so it is not a highly technological product. So what we are doing is really the really high-tech product made from the urban green waste, and this is a direct alternative to the wood pulp. That's why everything started based on the idea that city will collect the leaves, because they are actually doing this already. We don't need own infrastructure of leaves collection, and once they collected the leaves, they are giving it to us. Anyway, they are moving it to landfills, whatever, so let them bring it to our facility. Usually this is a win-win cooperation. We do not charge cities for the raw materials, but we are also not paying for this. So this is a mutually beneficial cooperation. We are getting raw materials for free, and we help cities to get rid of the leaves for free. So this is how it was designed. Later on, we understood that moving a bit western to the France and Germany and the Netherlands and exploring the markets of these countries, we understood that probably we may get not enough leaves for the local productions if someday we want to have the local production there, because of the combination of reasons. There's a bit smaller cities with the less trees, and the infrastructure of leaves collection is a bit specific. So some cities in France, for example, prefer to do not collect the leaves and leave them where they are, just because of some internal rules, etc. So we understood that if we want to have the real global impact and to scale around the world, we need to find how to solve the problem with the feedstock and what else could be recycled under the same technology and using the same equipment. And we understood, conducted several tests in the laboratory and then industrial tests that we can use a lot of different biological wastes, not only which are coming from the cities, but for example, agricultural wastes. So it was very new for us and very unexpected when we tried steams of different agri-waste like cucumbers, potatoes, tomatoes, whatever, and we succeeded. So we've got the fibers from all of these plants or crops with the same properties that could be processed under the same technology. So we understood that the potential of the technology that we developed is significant. It could work for the urban waste, it could work for the agri waste, and I don't know what else could be, but the potential is really huge. So it's really something that could change the industry from one side, and from another side to resolve the global problem, how to dispose everything about the green wastes in the world.
Yeah, so I'm curious because coming from Germany, I know about all the leaves that I found in my garden every autumn, and these were like some were easy rotting and some were kind of impossible to put into compost because it would take years until they are really transformed into compost. So does it make a difference what kind of leaves, or you said also other organic material comes in for the process or for the quality of the paper?
So the answer is no, because we realize that in practice, when we're talking about thousands of tons of leaves that should be delivered, so the city services, they will not separate the leaves from the oak, from the leaves of someone else. So it's usually comes all together. It comes dirty, wet, partially rotten, whatever, with the plastics, well. So we realize that these things are happening. That's why all our process designed in such way to work with any types of the leaves in any conditions that we are getting. There is a bit difference in terms of the length of the fibers, etc., between different species of the trees, but as they are mixed and as they are treated mechanically on the production, so the outcome of this processing is so at the end, all the features are the same, no matter where the leaves came from and from which species. But there are some differences if this is the leaves from trees or this is the crops of vegetables, for example. There are some differences for sure in the length of the fibers and in some mechanical properties, but usually we are not mixing them together. So fibers or pulp from the fallen leaves is a one stream, and from the agricultural waste, this is another. That's why there are two different products, two different qualities, a little bit different, but yeah, so we can work with all of them.
So what kind of paper are you producing? Is it like for boxes, or if you say that there are different kind of qualities, can you give me a little bit more about this information?
Yes, our production where the leaves are processed, the result of this production is raw materials. We call them relief fiber, which is quite similar to the wood pulp. This is what we are producing by ourselves, and this is where our know-how is. Then any paper mill can use these raw materials to produce their own paper. At the moment, we cooperate with one paper mill, which is independent one, but they are making paper for ourselves. So we are giving them our materials, and they are making paper from these raw materials, and we are paying them for this. And the model of the paper that they are doing for us calls Releaf Paper natural craft liner. So it's our own receipt. It includes leaves and some other wastes inside. And this is this paper really looks like a normal craft paper, brown color, which is applicable for making, for example, paper bags, corrugated boxes, envelopes for e-commerce delivery, but also it is applicable, as we understood, for different printing applications. So just a week ago, we did kind of magazine or brochure for the BNP Paribas French bank that was fully printed on our paper, and this is what we never were thinking about, but again, it was a request from customer. Another case, we produced some paper notebooks for LVMH. Again, the application that came from nowhere, that was a request from customer. Originally, all the materials and the products were designed as a packaging, but sometimes customers are creating the new applications for this material. And that's cool because they are participating in this process and extend the horizons of the materials and the products. And this is what we actively promote. We engage customers to be actively involved into development of the final product, and that's really cool because they want to be a part of it. They don't need a packaging or product itself. They can buy it everywhere. What they really need is to contribute into what we're doing, the circular economy, to drive the sustainability, to reduce deforestation, to reduce the carbon footprint, and they want to be a part of it. And play an active role into creating the finished product, telling, I want you to make this, or for example, we have a supplier who can do this for us, but they need material from you, because we can produce this from the normal paper, but we want to make it from your material. So, well, this cooperation occurring very frequently, and that's very great that the big companies are paying real attention on innovative materials, sustainability, circular economy, because they like everything behind Releaf Paper. So it's not like a material for them. That's a great story, starting from the 16-year-old inventor, coming from Ukraine, despite of the war, despite of the everything, developing now in Europe. So that's a great story.
Yeah, so, I can feel the energy while you're sharing this, that it is not just a job you are doing, like you said, you have been a serial entrepreneur, and so this means you have been in different businesses before, and I would like to know a little bit about that in a minute, but it's also that you really, bring in this energy and this mission. I feel that this is something that really is creating a better world, and is really something that will help to change the paradigm about how we treat our planet, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So let us know a little bit about your own background. You shared the background where this Releaf Paper idea came from, and about this young guy, but who are you?
Well, before 30, I was building the career in the corporations, and the most known company from my previous workplaces was Lenovo, the leading computer manufacturing companies in the world, the competitor of HP and Dell. So I used to work for six years for Lenovo. I was responsible for the business in the Eastern Europe, starting from Ukraine and up to Mongolia. So yeah, I learned a lot working for corporations. I learned a lot, but I was seeking for independence. And I was too much passionate about running something really new. That's why when I turned 30 or 31, I started the career of entrepreneur. I found that first company called General Services, and we were doing firstly some several first businesses were related to consumer electronics because I learned a lot about this market. So we were doing logistics of spare parts and distribution across the Eastern European countries. We provided services of call center for the after sale support, doing a lot of other things in Eastern European countries, in Ukraine first of all, but also in Georgia, Belarus, whatever. Then I also started working on some startups, and my first startup was a company called Breezy. That was the first company related really to the circular economy. We were implementing the programs for the old smartphones exchange in the operators' networks, cooperating with the biggest retailers in the several countries, again, of the Eastern Europe. And we were doing refurbishing of these old smartphones after this and turning them back to the market. So my first company was started from scratch by myself, and I had a lot of plans to develop this company alone and for the long time being, until the big investor from Cyprus came, and they had the similar plans to do the same in the countries where I was operating. So there was a choice to be a competitor with them or to make a kind of merging. So yeah, they offered me to kind of partnership. So they did acquisition of my company. I became the shareholder in the much bigger company, but I lost my active role. And it was very important for me because before I was the leading person in all my previous businesses. Now I became the board member without active role, and it was a disaster for me. I remember one day there was no longer office for me to come, and that was a crisis for me. It was a career crisis. I was 36, I think, at that time, and I understood I cannot live like this. I need to do something and do something actively. There was some passive businesses that I owned, but it was not interesting. So I was seeking for some active role. And again, I was thinking several months is maybe start this or start that. And then this story with Releaf happened. I learned about them and I understood this is where I want to spend years of my career, maybe whole my further career. And then you know the rest of the story.
So what really attracted you going into this project?
First of all, the innovativeness of what Releaf does. So this is the world's first and the world's only company that process fallen leaves into fiber for making paper. Now it is patented technology, and for sure we are the only one in the world. That was the first point. The second, the business model of Releaf is something between manufacturing and recycling, and I always wanted to work with the manufacturing. I never worked before with the manufacturing, but this was my internal request, I would say, to create something. And the manufacturing is the best and the most obvious way where I can make it, to create not only in my head or whatever, but create it physically. It was very interesting for me. And I was always very close to the ideas of the recycling, to get something which is useless and to turn it into something valuable. This is exactly about Releaf. And then I was maybe too much international after the working in the global cooperation, just flying between I don't know, Japan and the United States. And I was thinking without borders, and I was living without borders. And I was going to make a business without borders in terms of make it really international business. My final goal, so all my actions before was addressed to or aimed to make a real big international company and maybe to keep it as a family company. I was never thinking about selling my company after to make an exit. No, it's not the case for me. And in case with my partner, he has the same values. So when somebody asks us about the exit strategy, we are openly telling we don't have exit strategy. We talked about this several times, but there is no exit strategy because we are not going to exit. We want to work. So my dream is to my daughters to continue working into this company. Maybe it's a bit unrealistic goal, but it's my dream. Let it be like this. So yeah, that's all together. It attracts me a lot. I understood that this idea at the moment was not company yet. It was just idea and concept. And I understood that it was to spend a lot of years of my life to turn it into a real company and to turn it into real value. So that's it. That's what attracts me a lot in the Releaf Paper.
Yeah, I totally hear you. So I'm an engineer in environmental technology. So on the one hand, this is the heart of science within me listening to you. And on the other hand, of course, like being a very intuitive person, connecting to the quantum field and connecting to this life, there is this, okay, I feel that this is or can be part of our future for humanity to, yeah, go into really seeing the circle of products and reusing things. And yeah, even after the paper is used, it's still like you have the quality of being organic. So there's still not really waste after that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's fully recyclable. It's biodegradable. So we did some experiments. So after 55 days in the soil, the product fully disappears. So yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of recyclability, so it goes in the same stream with a conventional paper. So yeah, it could be recycled up to 5 times without losing quality. So it could be recycled again and again. So it's definitely after usage it's not the end of the story.
What have been challenges during the time that you started the company? Like, have there been technical issues or finding investors, or what have been challenges?
Oh, there were a lot of them, and still a lot, and they are changing every time. Once we fix one, some new appears. Okay, so the small complexities that we met in the end of 2021 when I joined were to find the balance between our capabilities and the customer needs, because there was a huge backlog of the customer's requests, and each of them wanted something from us. Like, I want bags, I want boxes, I want paper. I don't want anything, just want to see the samples. So, and at that time we had no own production, and we even had no outsourcing partner who are able to do that. So the first challenge was how to make it happen, how to produce the product that customer wants, and they wanted like a huge range of the different products. So first of all we tried to please them all, and it was almost impossible because like 2 different requests. So finally we decided to focus on the limited portfolio, and we found the company who were able to do this as an outsourcing partner, and we started production somehow in the small scale. And I didn't like the product itself, so as for me it was very simple, and but for the start it was fine. And from the very beginning we've got the early customers, and it was a quite big companies, like the first one I think was L'Oreal, and the second I assume was Samsung. So there was an interest from the really big brands. Of course, they were buying like a super small volumes, but that was fine for us. We understood that what we are doing makes sense, and we decided, okay, let's move forward with it. Let's start thinking about the own production and about the big scales. And the idea was to make it in Ukraine, where we are originally came from, and we were living at that time in Ukraine. And we started fundraising, I think, in the very early of 2022, but we were not experienced in this. So we never, so all my previous businesses were launched for my own funds. But in that case, the budget was a bit bigger. So the factory that we want to build cost approximately 5 million euro. And we definitely needed some investor. But anyway, all these plans failed. There was some interest from the Japanese corporation. We talked a lot with them. There was a long calls during the night with the Japanese corporation. But then one day we wake up and understood that the war started. The Russia invaded Ukraine. And that was a finish of all our negotiations with the investors, because in that circumstances, no one wanted to invest into startup in Ukraine. At that time, the forecasts were very gloomy, I would say. So everyone said, so Ukraine will survive 3 days and then will fail. Well, now it's already 2 years and we're still alive. But again, within 2 weeks, there was no any possibility to think about relief, because there was a bit different matters at that time. But then we talked with my partner and decided, so anyway, let's continue doing what we're doing, but let's try to make it, I mean, the production that we were going to build, let's make it not in Ukraine for this time. Let's keep Ukraine for the future, but let's make the first factory closer to the target audience. Let's make it in the Western Europe. And we started another fundraising campaign, but before that, we started to define the country where we would like to have the first factory. And we were acting a bit simply, I would say. And the simple strategy was, we defined, there was a long list of the countries, 8 countries that were on our radar. And we contacted the national agencies for the investments in each of this country with a request like, we are Releaf Paper, we are the super innovative early stage startup from Ukraine. Our idea was 1 billion. And we want to make the factory in your country or maybe in some other country, but we have no resources. So we were expecting some ideas, proposals, resources that the country can propose. And we spoke to plenty of countries like Finland, Norway, Sweden, Germany, Netherlands, France. Maybe I missed someone, but there was a long list. And in all the cases, the answer was, okay, so we understood what you want, but we can help you with making the company in our country. But rest of the things, it's your own responsibility and your own business. So if you would like to make, for example, a factory in Germany, come to Germany, we will help you to create the company and then act as you wish. So try to find the funds by yourself, try to find the leaves by yourself, etc., etc. And it was not actually what we were looking for, because it sounds too complicated for us to come to the new country to make everything from scratch. So that sounds incredible. Only the organization called Business France, that's a national agency for the investments from France, they convinced us that all the possible resources we will find in France. And after several months of negotiation, we decided, okay, let's start with France. Anyway, our long-term aim is to have the production facilities in all of the key countries of Europe. That's why we decided, okay, France will be the first, and rest of the countries will come later. So in 2022, we registered the company in France, and we started a new fundraising campaign. And finally we succeeded. So finally we found the funds necessary for the factory with a bit limited budget, but it's like 3 million euro. And we started this factory, and hopefully in July of this year, in 3 months, it will be launched finally in France.
Yeah, so you said that these were the difficulties to find the best place where you find support from the administration, but also where it is possible to create this manufacturing. At the same time, you said a little bit before that France is not the best place because you don't have these lot of leaves being there or being collected. So where do you get the leaves now and the other material from? And are you like bringing this to the manufacturing to France?
Yeah, so making such business as our in any Western European countries will be complicated for the many reasons. And when I mentioned that it is complicated in France is again a combination of different factors: cultural, linguistic, fiscal, and a little bit in mentality as well. But it's almost everywhere. Yeah, we were not able to make a really deep research for the green waste in the France. We just believed what we've been said, that the leaves are almost everywhere, and no matter where you will decide to have the production, you will find them. But it was not like this in the reality. Our original plan was to make the factory close to the city of Lyon. And well, we spent a lot of time in negotiations with the local, with the city of Lyon and with different other stakeholders. Finally, we understood that there are not enough leaves, but it took 9 months to understand. This is what no one told us in advance, because it was, for some reasons, it was very complicated. The easy answer sometimes takes too much time. And it was a bit critical for us, because at that time we already got the funds, and we already was responsible to complete this project. And we started to talk to plenty of other cities within France. And in all the cases, situation was more or less the same. Like, yeah, we are interested, but we don't know who collect the leaves. We don't know the volumes. And it will take 3 months, 6 months to end. So there was the pressure of time for us. And but we were lucky enough to find not the city, but another kind of stakeholder. This is a collecting company who collect the leaves from the variety of small cities around Paris, and they agreed to work with us because they are already paid by the cities for the leaves they are collected. And then they do nothing with the leaves, and 20,000 tons of leaves that we need, they can provide them easily. That's why we've got commitment from them, and we are okay. And based on the geographical location where they are, close to Paris, we started to seek for the location for our own facility, for our own factory. Finally, we identified the suitable building facility and started the process of the equipment manufacturing, the preparation, whatever. So yeah, it was a bit challenging for us to make it happen with the leaf supply, etc., with a proper place, region, city, but finally we fix it.
And you said the vision is to create this manufacturing companies around Europe. So like having in every bigger city, or I don't know, this kind of manufacturing, or how do you think about that?
Yes, exactly. That's our vision, to have several production facilities in different countries of Europe, and not only Europe, but a bit later, close to the big feedstock of the raw materials. It could be either big cities, or it could be, for example, agricultural farms, whatever. So it could be it could be different from country to country, because in France we are already secured with the leaves from cities around Paris, but for example, in other countries, it could be something different. It could be feedstock from the farms, as I said. And of course, we cannot say that there will be a relief factory in every country, because it's not only from one side, there is a matter of the raw materials, but from another side, there is a matter of demand. And we need to balance this. So we cannot produce like 100,000 tons of something. We need to ensure that there will be a sellout of this amount. That's why it is always a matter of balancing. So far, the main problem is raw materials, but once we will fix it, then the second problem will be the sellout of the product that we produce. And then when we'll fix it again, that will be a problem of getting more raw materials. And I think it will be never-ending story. So we will be moving this within Europe as much as we could with our financial capabilities. And then we have a lot of plans all over the world, and North America probably will be the next step. But except of the mature markets like Europe and North America, we understood that we have a lot of job in the tropical countries, maybe too much job. So we already tested some tropical plants as a source of the fibers, and we succeeded with the pineapples. And we know for sure that it also could work with the bananas. So this is extremely big volumes, but to process them, the production should be placed close to the tropical countries. But that means that we have work for the next dozens of years, and we should be nothing to worry about. So we need to be just concerned about our capabilities to make it in such a volume.
This is super interesting, as you just mentioned bananas. So yeah. I'm living in Madeira Island, which is a tiny island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean belonging to Portugal. And I'm sitting between sugarcane, banana trees, and at the moment I'm looking into a pitanga tree. And we have, when, for example, the sugarcane is harvested, a lot of material that could be fiber for example, for paper. Yeah. And also there is like, it's a touristical island here, and all the hotels have like organic waste, and we don't have any kind of system that collects this kind of waste. There was a plant that was using this for composting, but it doesn't work for many years. And obviously there's no engineer fixing this. So there is a lot of material here on the island because so many fruits and vegetables are produced here, and all the waste is going into wherever they are burning it or whatever they are doing with it. So I see that like we have an overflow of organic material that could be used, but I don't see that we, for example, have a production of paper here, or that.
For sure. There are two reasons for this. First of all, there is no infrastructure of collecting of this because there is no valorization of this. The waste management works in the way that everything that is collecting then should be disposed somehow. But if there is no way to dispose organic waste on the Madeira, so that means there is no purpose to collect them. So that's a dependent thing. And the second thing is, I don't want to disappoint you, but that's also a problem of the islands. It's always like this. So it's a logistics complexity, etc. So no matter if it is Cyprus or Madeira or Ireland, there always be issues like this. If there is no continental connection, it always brings some problems with streams like I mentioned.
So who are the clients you are looking for at the moment? You already mentioned that there are some already asking for your products, but who would be a perfect client for you to be connected with?
At the moment, we are developing two customer segments, and they are very different. So the first one is the industrial B2B segment. And the ideal customer is the manufacturers of paper who is seeking for alternative raw materials for making paper. And our Relief fiber, this is exactly the alternative to the traditional wood pulp. And we believe that most of the volumes of our raw materials could be consumed by paper mills, and they will produce paper by their own. So that's one group. But we also like to work a lot with the end customers. In our business, end customer is brand owners, brands and retailers. They don't need pulp because that's a raw material. They need finished solution. And it brings a bit unfocusing for us, but we forced also to go into packaging market a little bit. We don't have own packaging production line, but again, we are using subcontractors to produce packaging from our materials, paper bags, corrugated boxes, envelopes, and some souvenir products like notebooks. And our ideal customer is a brand owner in cosmetics, in fashion, I don't know, in something else, which needs packaging and a lot of packaging, and which would like to reduce the carbon footprint and demonstrate the values sustainable values to the end customers. And we are ideal fit for them because we are super sustainable. We are one in the world. We can produce the batch of packaging, and so yeah, we have a lot of pilots with known companies. Unfortunately, in the small scale, because they are not hurry up with a fully switch to something very new. They need to evaluate. They need to ensure that the supply chain is solid, etc. But our pilots occurred with I already mentioned L'Oreal and Samsung. There was also LVMH. There was Schneider Electric and plenty of cosmetic brands: Veleda, Kiehl's, NYX, Matrix, and someone from the consumer. There was a quite interesting case with a Nestle, but Nestle Hong Kong. There was a first super ocean delivery to Hong Kong of the small batch of the packaging. I assume for some special occasion probably, but yeah. So even for Nestle, we shipped something. So our ideal customer is a company, brand, retailer who cares about the environmental and needs a lot of packaging.
And this is super interesting. I just had another interview with a lady who is producing organic leather shoes and clutches and bags. So these are made from pineapple leather and from apple leather. So she is the one, and another lady, so two ladies creating this, who already has this mindset of using organic material that will not harm, in this case, animals, and is ethical and sustainable, of course, to combine this, even thinking about like, how is the package that these beautiful luxury fashion items will be sent. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably, you mentioned, you mean company from Mexico with some facility. I think they have something in Spain as well, but at least I know only one company that are making leather from the pineapples. So yeah, that's a good case. And I'm glad that a lot of companies like this appeared. And they are trying to replace something which is common for us, but really not sustainable, and replace it with something else. So this is exactly how Relief Paper behaves. And I wish more and more companies will appear like this to resolve the global problems. And the good thing is, most of all these significant changes are driven by the startups, not by the huge corporations. And the real impact will come when corporations will finally understood that they cooperation with the startups, this is a great synergy, because the small innovative companies will create genius ideas, but sometimes they will die, and very frequently, very frequently, just because no one will support them. So I don't know what will happen with Releaf if we will not get the investments for our first factory. So we were also on the very risky situation. So I encourage all the time all the corporations to start working with the startups, because sometimes they are creating genius ideas, and cooperating with them, that's a great opportunity to be the first one and to benefit most of compared to others with the cooperation with the young innovative companies.
So what would be like the one thing, if I would be the good fairy and I could make a wish come true, what would be the one thing that would really bring you to the next level?
It will be a strategical cooperation with super big international paper player, I would say. Under strategical cooperation, I mean kind of investments, acquisition, whatever, with the significant level of independence from our side. But it will resolve dozens of problems in the same time. So it will resolve the problem of the sellout, which is a challenge for us, and with the global scaling, and with go-to-market strategy, and with plenty of back office resources like accountants, legal support, IP protection, whatever, and the people, of course. So this is what we are approaching, and I think we'll approach more next years. So far, we are fully independent. We are not backed by any big players. Just the European Commission is the only one financial partner, the European Innovative Council. But we are not backed by any investor or strategical partner. But we will definitely look for it later on, because I realize if we will go independently, most probably we will succeed, but it will take 20 years. If we'll go with a big player together from our niche, I think it will be 5 times shorter.
So if this person is now listening to this interview, please reach out to Alexander and to Releaf Paper. And yeah, thank you so much. It was really interesting to hear all about your mission, what you're creating, and where you want to go. So if people are now interested to contact you, where can they find you? How can they contact you? What is a way to speak with you?
The best, for the general inquiries, we have the corporate email, info@reliefpaper.com, but that's mostly for the business proposals. We are not providing consultants, whatever. A lot of requests, and I can share it openly. Guys, I like what you are doing. Give me more technical details how you are doing this. I also want to do this. Unfortunately, this time's already gone, and I should state openly that the technology is our key asset, and we spend a lot of money and a lot of years of our life to achieve what we finally achieve. And we cannot just, unfortunately, tell how we are doing this. Apologize for that. That's why, for the business proposal, we have email if someone wants to chat with me. But again, I'm open for serious talks, but I'm a bit busy, I would say, for general conversation. I prefer LinkedIn. And by the way, we have several several job positions open now at our production in France, and we are mainly looking for the technical staff, production engineers, quality control managers, forklift drivers, whatever. If you are in France, or if you are flexible enough to travel to France for the croissants and the wine and cheese and relief paper, so feel free. LinkedIn, there is a position on the page of our company, or also can try to contact me, private message to LinkedIn.
Okay. Last but not least, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would like to share?
Well, one of our direction is a packaging, and we are very interested to make as much pilots with interested companies as possible. We have a small internet shop, reliefbag.com, where you can easily find and buy already produced packaging in the super small batch, like 100 pieces of bags. In one box it's already produced in packs or some samples of boxes. Feel free to visit the website to order, to try. If you will like it, you can order some custom-made badge with your branding, your logo. Yeah, the minimum order quotation will be a bit bigger, but it could be fully customized. So now we are not mainly for earning money, because we are anyway we are so our expenses is much bigger than our revenue, but we are interested to get much companies to familiar with the products that we do, and we kindly ask to try to test, give your feedbacks, share the pictures of how you use it. So it's very important for us to understand if we are doing right or not.
Okay, so please, everybody who's listening, reach out to Alexander, and thank you so much for being my guest on this show today. Thank you.
Thank you, Swanette. Thank you for nice questions. For a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much. See you soon.
See you soon.
Subscribe now and be part of an amazing movement that is revolutionizing industries, protecting our planet, and is driving humanity towards a thriving and better future. Together, let's break business boundaries and ignite positive innovation. Join us today.